Time for me to talk.
Okay, we're officially live now.
Officially?
Yes, officially. We are live on Facebook and YouTube.
Oh wow.
It's kind of dope, right? I'm like,
It is.
what? Okay. So I wanted to bring people together so that we can kind of address the red pill, blue pill. Is everybody familiar with the red pill, blue pill?
Go ahead and explain it anyway.
Okay, so the red pill, blue pill is from the Matrix movie. And that was when Morpheus gave Neo the option to stay oblivious, which is blue pill, or take the dose of reality, the red pill. And so something that I've noticed is that a lot of people tend to like the comfortability of the blue pill because you don't have to be aware of the harsh reality. So what we need to happen is for people to come out of the blue pill state because it's a falsehood. Does that kind of break it down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we're familiar, is there anybody that's not ready for the red pill?
Hey, yo, so hold on. So the red pill is getting out of the matrix, the blue pill is staying in.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying to participate in this conversation, we gotta take the red pill?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if anybody's uncomfortable with the idea of the red pill,
Uh,
they're probably going to be a little emotional because some people just fear reality. Some people fear that. So I don't want anybody to feel forced, if that makes sense. I don't want anybody to feel forced because reality can suck at times. Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of questions that I think are good questions. Okay, let's see who's this. Siobhan. Okay, Siobhan's just joined us. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
yeah.
you.
What's up,
Perfect.
buddy?
What's up?
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So we were
This
just
your
kind of
auntie?
discussing the matrix theory of the red pill, blue pill. Are you familiar?
No.
Okay. So, did you see the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember when Morpheus gave Neo the option of being aware or staying unaware?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's what we're kind of gonna discuss: reality versus falsehood.
Okay.
So we've come up with a couple of questions that we just want to touch base on to kind of open the conversation because this is, I'm sure, going to be ongoing because it applies to so many different things.
Right.
Hey, real quick, like if you're not talking, can we have you mute so we don't hear all the background noise?
Yep, we sure can.
Mm, Not you, Rakia. You the moderator. You can't mute.
I was just saying, I thought she was going to say something.
No.
Okay, so the first question is we're going to talk about gender roles. And the question is our gender roles outdated?
I almost want a woman to start here. I'm afraid for any of us men to say something.
I wouldn't say, you said the question was, are they outdated?
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're outdated. And today's time, people just need to uh, fill in where it's needed. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes the father got to cook, you got to clean because mom is doing something else. Sometimes mom got to pick up and drop the kids off at football practice, or it's just today is such a different world from when those roles were originally created. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. I would agree with that. Um, when we say outdated, could that be detrimental to our society?
To
Like
have them in place, or
to have them be no longer how they were back in the day.
I think that, and this is just my opinion. I don't want to come off like a chauvinist, but I do
Please don't,
think
because this is an open forum. I need everybody's open, honest opinion. That would be really
it it
necessary for this.
it certainly had its advantages.
And I would agree with you 1,000%.
You
what
know
are
what I'm
the
saying?
advantages?
The advantages that the kids had a nice balance of livelihood. If everybody played their role accordingly, most homes were happy.
I would agree to that. And I would also say that it also it keeps certain responsibilities where they should be fit, if that makes sense. Because speaking for myself, I was a child that was raised without the mother, father in the home. So with that being said, the father will play the role of the provider, the protector, the disciplinary. You know what I mean? Like it just gave it more of a balance, is what I feel
Right.
from my perspective.
I don't know if I agree.
So what's your opinion?
Because okay, so listen, gender roles to me are outdated. A couple reasons why. First of all, in our black community, like if you notice, is that a lot of black men are incarcerated, right? Like they getting locked up, and so what it forced the black woman to do is to overcompensate for the men that they may not have had in their lives, right? That's one thing. I also read this book some time back, where it talked about women, for instance, were mostly unsatisfied sexually because of gender roles, right? Because a woman is taught to please a man, and in having sex, the same thing was applied. And so she was so worried about trying to get the man off that she didn't get pleased herself, nor did she take that empowerment to get it, because a woman is supposed to be docile and submissive, and you know what I mean, like for them to take what they want when it comes to pleasure or when it comes to businesses, what like that to me is not the way I raise my daughter, because I want my daughter to be able to feel comfortable and powerful enough to get the things that she needs and require the man that she's with to give it to her. And so, you know, traditional gender roles, again, it was like, okay, you just do whatever the man tells you to do. Like, that's it. And I think that takes a lot of power away from women.
Would it be fair to say that women would be more willing to be submissive if they were being led in the right direction or led by a strong leader?
I think you first have to understand how our family structure was built from day one. Black women were put in the position of power. That's most black families, the grandmother, the mother, strong black women, you know. And as far as gender roles go, I think it's just as simple as, you know, mom cooked dinner while dad cuts the grass.
Hey,
You know what I'm
I'm gonna say
saying?
this. I'm gonna say this
It's
while I get about
you want to cut the grass or you want to cook dinner. You want to clean the house or you want to change the oil. I think it's as simple as that.
Hmm. I'm gonna say
Most
this
women
real
would love
quick.
to have an honest man at home that's faithful, that takes care of all those things for her.
Not most
Wash
women.
her car, fill up her tank, you know?
No, discrepancy.
No?
No, sir.
Yeah, let's get into it. What you think?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me how you feel, Don.
Okay, so first off, I'm Don. No disrespect to nobody in the group, okay? I'm just bringing my perspective. It's not a
None
right or
taken.
wrong, right?
None taken.
I'm what would be considered a lesbian right now. I have two children, and they're 30 and 25. So I have been with guys, but the past 20 some years I have not. So I have a different perspective of it, but I have had a lot of negative male figures in my life. I think I can count on one hand how many positive male roles that I know right now. And most of my family are matriarchs, so we have more women in our family than we do men. And so I believe that that traditional structure that you were talking about is an Anglo-Saxon viewpoint. You know, it's something that's westernized. It's what they do when they get that white picket fence and the house, and when you follow those type of goals, then you fall under those categories. But I don't think it was like that. Like if you want to go back to ancient times when um, our true ancestors in Kemet or Africa, I don't think they was doing it like that. I think they were following different gender roles.
They weren't.
But I know the woman wasn't cooking and the man
Exactly.
was lifting stuff. They had people doing different things. There were carpenters, there were women and men carpenters, there were women and men politicians, there were women and men everything. And they shared the role with raising kids and stuff. So what world you talking about?
No, they didn't.
What who are you talking about? When you talking about history, are you talking about the Comedics? Or
Yes, yes. Ancient Kemet was patriarchal, just like the westernized world. It was patriarchal. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is a civilization can't survive for that long without there being structure. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
There
but
got to
where
be
does
order.
how does structure have to do with men and women being in their gender roles?
Think about this: men built the pyramids, women did not.
See, and that's where we have a conflict because I don't
They're,
believe
they
men
didn't.
built the pyramids.
Well, who? Aliens built it.
Well, it was some other type of culture because those bricks are proven, and that's a whole nother subject. We don't need to
It
go
is.
on
But what
that
I'm saying
subject.
is, men built them. Men are builders. This is. You see what I'm saying? We're bigger. We're stronger. We're faster. We are built to protect and build. That's what men do. Women are nurturers, nesters. You are the first teachers of children. That is that's what it is.
No, I don't agree with you, sir, but it's
Well,
okay. I
I,
see
I
your
don't either.
perspective
Hey,
on
but Chris was saying something, but before Chris, what was you were saying something.
I think we lost Chris. He might come back. He still has the link. He might come back.
Yo, so is that Marcus who was saying when you talk about the Kimmits? Um, yeah, let me.
That
I
was
will say,
actually D.
huh?
That was actually D.
Okay, D.
hey
Yo, bro,
everybody.
what's up, bro? So okay, I hear you, right? Like, I also think we got to be very careful about the way that history is taught to us, right? Because there's a lot of things that are not like it leans, it's called his story for a reason, right? Like it leans based upon whoever's writing it. Now I'm not saying what you're saying is not correct. Like I'm not saying that we're not builders, but I just think that's a very limited role. I will explain because most of the most of the knowledge I have about construction of a house, about building anything in a house came from a woman who had a belt on, who taught me more than men. You know what I mean? And so, yo, that why is that? Yo,
That's a single example.
I know
Right.
I'm not.
That's
That's a
your
I,
that's your
sample size.
personal experience.
That's a
Right.
right,
sample
and
size.
you're right. It is a single example, but what I'm saying is that it's very limiting to put anybody in a box, right? Like for you to say that men should do this and women should do that. Like if that was the case, then
We,
maybe I wouldn't have some of the knowledge I have about building, right? As a man, and so I'm just saying, like, I don't like boxes, and I'm pretty sure nobody likes a box, right? Like,
but we all live in a box in some way, shape, or
should
form.
we should we though?
Yes, because see, this is the problem with humans. We are masters of complicating things. If you want to look at simple, if you want to get simplistic, all you have to do is observe and study nature. Nature is very simple. We complicate things.
But nature
Lion,
doesn't put male and
the
females into categories.
no, but it
Nature
ain't
does
just
not.
females,
Frogs
but it's
can get pregnant
males.
and don't even have a male or female.
Huh? Say that again.
Frogs can get pregnant and not even have a male or female.
Well, I don't deal with amphibians, reptiles, arachnids. I deal with mammals
But you said
because
let's use animals
mammals.
as examples. Now you want to
No,
just
no,
talk
no.
about
I said
mammals,
nature. I said nature.
which is not
And when
animals.
I say nature, I say we have to look at mammals because see, frogs are not group animals. Mammals are. Every mammal is a group animal. They all seek group acceptance, just like humans. So frogs can be solitary. Reptiles can be solitary and be just fine. So that's why I don't compare humans to those type of animals. I limit it to mammals because mammals are group animals. And they're in boxes. You know, like male lions, they protect. They roam the territory, mark the territory, and ward off any rivals. When the female lions don't do that. So the male lion goes out and risks his life to protect the pride. He is put in a box. Why? Because he's bigger and stronger and is more capable of protecting than a single solitary females. It'll take 3 females to do the job of one male lion. Is it
Yeah,
fair that
but
he
let me
gets put
tell.
in a box?
Can I use one example? Because that male lion sleeps 10 to 12 hours a day, while the females do most of the work. So
Well,
I
they
don't
do
know if
the
that's a
hunting.
fair example.
No, 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 no. But what I'm saying is, that's the box that they're in. He protects. He risks his life in that protection, and he gets the fruits of his labor. You know what I'm saying?
I
And the
don't, but
female got to go do the hunting in packs, in groups. That's the box they're in. Everybody's in a box. It's just we as humans don't like the fact that we're in a box and we're trying to defy nature.
yeah, but don't we separate ourselves from animals because we have a part of our brain that allows us thought and direction and decision making abilities?
Those mammals have that too.
Yeah, but there's something that puts our intelligence at a different level. Like they do things on instinct, out of survival tactics and stuff. We do too, but we also have choice. We have decisions and we make intelligent decisions that go above a penguin, that go above a lion, that go above a monkey.
Now, no. Well, the thing is yes, our brain is more complex. You see what I'm
So
saying?
we're more
But
advanced.
yes, we are. But what I'm saying is and that's part of our problem. We try to complicate things. You see what I'm saying? We try to complicate things. We're talking about gender. We're literally talking about gender roles, things that have been established worldwide amongst every race of people, every culture, ethnicity, and in today's time, we're talking about basically doing away with it. Or some people are advocates of doing away with gender roles, something that has existed since the beginning of mankind.
And it hasn't. Can I give you an example?
Sure.
The Malaji, the Dora Malaji, which are featured in Black Panther, are a group of warrior women that are real.
You're talking about a less than 1% of female warriors in the world.
That's a sample size. It's not. And
No.
even if it is 1%, it's still something to be reckoned with. It's still something that should be recognized.
Yes,
just
but
because it's 1% doesn't mean that, or just because it's in the minority doesn't mean that it should be ignored.
Yes, the exception does not overrule the rule. Think about if just think about it. Hypothetically speaking, let's think about if the roles were reversed and men were the nesters and the women were the warriors. Humanity would have died out by now because of all the warfare that's gone on.
And no, that's not the truth either, sir.
Yes, it is.
You kind of being a little bit low key racist or sexist, and that's
I'm not
okay.
being racist.
That's why we're having this conversation. You're being sexist a little bit.
No.
Can I
that we'd have been?
Can I try to just like?
We're in charge. Is that what I'm hearing?
No. I'm talking about. You gave an example of women warriors, right?
Yes.
I'm saying they are the exception. They're not the rule.
But you said that we would have went to war. What were you referring to, sir?
No, I'm saying is if female and males, if the roles were reversed and males were the nesters to at home taking care of the children, and all women of every race, every culture in the history of humanity, they were the ones going to war. Well, females give birth. If you got all these hundreds of thousands of women dying in battle every year, you see what I'm saying? Females would be dying off. Therefore, humanity would be dying off.
Well, that's not fair, D, because listen, a war is a male construct, right? Like that is existent because men are ruling the world. Like what you're saying is that if the roles were reversed, you act like it would be the same. It would be the same thing. How do you know we wouldn't go to war? How do you know if a war would be?
You know why? Because no matter what anyone tells you about war is always fought over resources and the control of resources. So if we can look at, let's just go back to tribal times, right? One tribe is over here living peacefully, another tribe is over here living peacefully. One tribe's crop fails that year. Now what happens? Are you going to starve to death? Are you going to go take someone else's crop?
That was not always the solution.
No. I'm just giving a simple example of how war can happen just on a tribal level. I'm not even talking about nations. I just on a tribal level.
But maybe there would be more diplomacy though.
That's not every tribe though.
No. I'm not saying that every tribe. I'm just giving an example of how sometimes war happens between tribes. It's not anything that anyone did against anyone. It's just my crops failed this year. I'm not, as a chief of my tribe, I'm not going to let my tribe starve.
Okay, and so historically, color-wise or race-wise or ethnicity-wise, historically, that concept of war, of I'm going to come and take over, and for whatever reasons, because you feel like you wear pants and I wear a loincloth, or because you feel like I'm a savage and you're not, that history has came from Europe. So when the Zulu tribe and when they had war, they didn't have that mindset. When they went to war with other people,
I get that.
It was a total different purpose. So there's a difference. I just wanted to point that out.
I'm not limiting it, but I didn't limit my example to Africa only. I said worldwide. I didn't limit it to Africa.
Can I just try to simplify the whole subject? Like our roles that we play in relationships and as far as gender goes, I think it's just simply out of convenience. You know, no woman would have a man that they're in love with in a relationship with doing nothing. When was the last time you changed your oil? You might have to pay somebody to do that. But if you had a guy in your life that changed your oil and cut your grass and did all of those things that he's supposed to do, and he wasn't doing it, you would not be happy with him.
Why
Well, she
not?
don't have a man, so
The world
I
is too
mean,
convenient.
No, but I love men that do that. But has that been happening? No. Are these new millennials like that? No. Nobody does
right.
that.
And and
This is and
and
this is where the
and
conversation
and
comes
so
in at. This is where the
and
conversation
so
comes in
so
at.
listen.
Is
So
gender
listen.
roles outdated? Siobhan,
Well,
what's your perspective?
and nobody's happy with the millennials not doing their role.
Not at all. Not at all.
So yes. So there it is right there. We talk about gender roles, and these young cats are not playing their role, and nobody's happy. And that
Correct.
sums
So
it
there
up
was
for
more
me.
of a foundation. There's more of a foundation, and this is
Right.
why men and women differ because women are equipped with things that men are not equipped with. Men are more simple, and women are more complex. We we think into things more than men do. We put emotions on things men don't. Like we play different roles. And so is it fair to say that gender roles are outdated?
Yeah.
I don't think they're outdated. I just think they're not being fulfilled.
I think we can have a RIP, drop a little liquor silent moment for gender roles because they are gone.
And
They're
could this
they're
be
less
problematic?
they're not they're definitely less popular. Chivalry is not all the way dead. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I don't know.
uh people with
That's part of
families, they definitely have their roles,
your personal.
whether it plays with gender or not.
Can you guys give personal examples? Do either one or any other gentleman on this live right now? Can anybody say that they still get out and pump gas? That they assume any of the traditional gender roles in their relationships?
Hey, and here's the question,
Yeah.
and here's my statement. Here's my statement to that. If you let me, I will. You know what I'm saying? If you let me be a gentleman, if you let me take care of you, I will. But if you don't carry yourself in a manner that will allow me to be a gentleman, I'm not gonna be.
I agree with that. I totally feel like because we've had to take on such a masculine role that we do
If you
not
let me
allow
fill your
men
tank
to
up
do
with
it.
gas,
So,
if you let me take care of you, and you let me, play my role, and you show the same respect in return, I have no issue doing that. But if
But
I fill your
there's
tank up
another
with
guy
gas
that
and wash your car and you come up missing for a couple days and I ain't heard from you, hell no, I'm not doing that again.
but look, there's another guy in here. I want to hear his perspective too.
Siobhan, what's your perspective? Because you've been quiet this whole conversation. What's your perspective? Take your mic off mute.
yeah. And then everybody else, there's a lot of background noise going on.
Um, I feel like gender roles are outdated. I couldn't like chime in because everybody was just going, so I'll just let everybody go. But I see it differently just because I grew up in a home where it was just my mom and my grandma, my siblings. And so there was never like a father figure in the home or anything like that. But I felt like I turned out fine without a father in my life. Like I accomplished finishing college, like I got 3 degrees. I'm a single mom, but I still take care of my daughter. I still cut grass. I still do all those things that men do. Fix things around the house. Like I made myself resourceful. Like I try to use what I know as far as trying to survive and try to make it. I don't feel like just because I'm independent, I don't feel like I need a man to do any of those things, but I can do it for myself. But it would be
But
nice
let me ask you
if a
this.
man was to do
Let me
it.
ask you
I'd be
this. Let me
appreciative.
ask you this.
Wait, no,
If
hold
you
on. Let
had
her
a
finish. Let
husband,
her finish. You gotta let her finish, bro.
okay,
Let her
my
finish.
bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like I would be appreciative appreciative, but at the same time, a lot of men do try to step in, like, hey, let me help you, da 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 da. And I'm like, cool, yeah, like, you can if you want, but you don't have to because I can still do it for myself. But I try to back off and appreciate the help, but I'm also like, I've been doing this for so long that I really can do without. But I do also know in general we all need help in some ways and some forms, and so I try to be appreciative of those blessings that do come. I think just because I'm a single mom, I still feel like because her dad is somewhat involved but not consistently, but I still feel like she still has a good chance of still making it without her dad. I've made it. I'm good. I also feel like there's a lot of men that also could be nurturers and have the roles reversed where they're at home taking care of the kids as well. But how common is that? It's very slim. Like, it's not that often. But I think it's possible to have roles switch where you're playing the other role where I'm working, the guy's at home taking care of the kids. Like, I'm all for that too, but at the same token, I feel like there has to be equality, has to be a balance, for sure, because I could demonstrate all kind of things for my daughter, but I can't tell her like, how this is how a father's supposed to be and like taking care of you. I can't play that role, but I also can just tell her like, hey, I'm just mom and I'm just here and I'm gonna do me, like, regardless of what that looks like. But I can't, if I had a boy, it would be different because I can't teach him how to be a man, of course, right? But at the same token, I can only teach him the values of life and like how to make it, like careful with the cops, things like that. But I can't teach him how to be a man. But I think men do play a role for their kids for sure. Um, I think whatever that looks like, I don't know. For everybody, it's different. For me, it's completely different. Like, I made it, so I'm just grateful that I'm here and I made it. Like, without a father figure, like, it's no excuse. But I don't feel like people say, oh, you have daddy issues or something like that. That comes up a lot, and that's a whole other conversation. But I don't feel like I have daddy issues or, oh my god, like, I don't know. I made it. I'm fine. I'm good. I don't know. That's just my perspective, though. Yeah.
I,
What do you
I
think?
don't
I
I
don't
don't
know.
I don't think gender roles are outdated. They're just neglected. They're just, we're not doing it. They're not outdated. We're just not doing it. Because there's no way either of you women would be in a relationship and not and be happy without your significant other playing his role ever.
I would agree
Whatever his
100%
role may
because
be,
I
you would
absolutely
not
will
be
not
happy
date
with
a
that.
man who is not a man. Like, I want to date a man's man.
Does that mean that you're a woman's woman?
I am a woman's woman.
I lost you guys. Hello?
You're there.
I can barely hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can, but barely.
Oh, I don't know why. Turn your volume up. Maybe you turned it down on accident. So my question was, would you prefer to continue that way, Siobhan?
Okay, I got you back.
Continue meaning what? Like, continue to just.
Continue to play both parts in the relationship, like just in life in general. Would you prefer to have a man come in and play his role in the upbringing of your children? Do you prefer
Uh,
to not have a man involved in
In a perfect
your
world,
day-to-day function?
in a perfect world,
Yeah.
would you love that? In a perfect world,
I wouldn't mind a man stepping in. I think the hard part for me would be I would probably make it difficult because I'm so set in my ways of like this is how I do shit. Um, but I
And that,
also would try to like withdraw back some so I can allow him to play that role a little bit.
yeah,
Um,
and
but I
that's
know
exactly
I
what I
could do
said
with,
earlier.
I could do with, and I could also do without, if that makes sense. So regardless if he's around, great, whatever. But like if he ain't, it's still gonna be. I can always go back to how I normally would have done things. Like it wouldn't change how I still do stuff and how I still show my daughter, hey, this is what it's like to cut grass. Like this is what it's like to lift some shit. Like it's just what it is. Like because if you don't have nobody around to do it, who you got? Yourself, right? So at the end of the day, all you got is you. So it's like I'm not gonna go out my way to call somebody like, hey, like, can you come get my air conditioner, put it in for me? Like, nah, I took that shit out myself this morning. I'm like, fuck that, I'm about to do it. Like, I don't got time to wait on nobody, you know. And it's just like I don't know. I can play all roles with it. Like, it doesn't phase me, but that's just how I grew up, and that's how I just been as well. And then it's like it's
You're a single
unfortunate that
mother.
this is
You
my
have to do
life.
all of those things. But we're talking about being in a relationship with somebody and letting them play their role.
I would, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you wouldn't accept anything less.
I
If I'm
mean,
hearing
So
if
can I
I'm
ask?
hearing who you are, you wouldn't accept anything less. No woman would.
I mean, yeah,
So
but
can I
it
ask a
also
question?
depends on the man because sometimes the man would probably be the way that I would hope that he would do, or like, what if he's lazy? He don't do shit at all. Like, it could be that
And
way too. Like,
he's got to play his gender role for you to understand that he's not a lazy man or a sorry motherfucker.
I mean, there are some niggas that are lazy. I could definitely contest to that. 'Cause, I mean, shit. I had a nigga that stayed with me, and it was like that nigga didn't do anything. Like, it didn't offer, it did nothing.
So
So
do
it's
you think
like,
that there's do you think there's more lazy
And
men in the projects than there are uptown?
I mean, I've dated all kind of men, so I don't know. Like, it's been kind of the same result, to be honest. So I think that's why I said I'm set in my ways because it's like, regardless if somebody does or they don't, I'm still gonna end up doing it regardless.
but
Hey,
you
so
ain't gonna be with him.
So I'm,
John, John, I'm
I'm not
curious,
gonna be what
right?
now?
Like oh, go ahead. My bad. My bad.
If you're in a
Go ahead.
relationship with a guy and he's not playing his role, the relationship is not gonna last long.
That ain't true.
Of course not.
People,
That's,
In this
people
day and
say.
She
time,
just
yeah.
confirmed it.
in this day
She
and
just
time,
confirmed it.
I mean, I'm saying people stay with. I mean, people will stay with a bum forever if they want to. Like I mean, it's not the most ideal situation, but like I wanted to add just a couple pieces here. Because I think and for the people who know me, I definitely think that I am a man's man. I also will say that I think what makes men a little or the type of man that I am is that I can flex though, right? And because I don't think either extreme is good, right? Like I can fix some shit and I can clean some shit, right? Like I can change your oil or I can raise some kids. I can you know what I mean? I can do all of that, right? Like but I'm more comfortable. Like if we look at a spectrum, I'm more comfortable on the man side of it, right? Like I'll work, I'll do whatever I got to do, but I don't think it's really good to just be one way, you know, because you have to be able to try to do everything, right? Like that's what makes that's what makes an incredible person is that you can go either way, right? You just got to make sure your role you are playing your role mostly, mainly, right? Like if I was on the other end of the spectrum, like okay, like I'm leaning more towards the feminine side, like then that might be a problem, right? Like that's not where I lean naturally, but at any given time, I can be that caretaker I could be that nurturer. I can kiss you. We can talk about our feelings. Like I'm talking about my kids, right? Like we can do all of that, right? And so I think like typical gender roles, and I think there's toxicity when you're on the extremes. But like in what I viewed as a typical male gender role is like, oh, like men don't express themselves, right? Men don't talk about their emotions. That's not manly, right? Yo, and I think that's dumb, right? Like, to me, that's not a healthy version of a man. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to get mad and argue with you. We can have a good conversation, right? Or you know what I mean? And so I just look at it that way. But I'm interested though, really, because Don, you said that you were a lesbian and you've been a lesbian for 2 decades now. So I'm wondering, do you have any gender roles in that relationship? Is there does your partner, whoever that is at that time, do y'all play a part of the traditional roles? Like, and the reason I say that because what I know, I'm not a lesbian, although I like females too. But like, uh, what you have like the butch women and you have like the femme, and so isn't that a part of that really stereotype of gender roles? It's just the same gender.
It is, but I still understand that I don't have the same requirements. I really, even with my kid's father, when I was in relationships with men, I didn't require them to open the door for me and stuff. Like I said, my family's been a matriarchal type of family. So we have more women than we do men in our family on both my mom and dad's side. So I don't have those expectations of a man. And when I did with my kid's father, the expectations I had of him were to just meet me halfway. And he was a bum and didn't. So that's another story. But the women that I mess with, they do assume the more dominant male. I like the women that look like men, but they're not. But I don't expect them to change a tire. I still, just like I did with a man, I expect them to get out and help me change the tire, or I still expect them to make 50-50. Anybody is equal. I want them to meet me halfway. But,
Who's the
and I
protector?
know some of the women that I deal with, they have problems. Most of the women that I deal with that assume the male role, they assume that male role because they've either had sexual abuse in their past, or they be messed up in their mind too a lot of times. So most of the women that I know that I'm attracted to that look like males, they all have some serious mental issues in their past. So they have to deal with it like that. But yeah, I'm attracted to the ones that are more like a male.
So I find that you're attracted to women who look like men, but not attracted to men who are men.
There was a saying I used to say back in the day when I was younger. So my kid's father and the guy after him and the guy before him, they were known cheaters. They were cheaters. So they cheated. I was always fighting a girl. I was always dealing with another woman. So I used to say back in the day, I'm just gonna cut the middleman. Why am I fighting and dealing with all these women when I could just cut your ass out in the middle and just deal with these women straight up? So that was my theory back then because they was cheating so much. I was like, I always have to deal with these damn women. Just let me deal with the women. So that's been my philosophy.
Who's the protector in that dynamic?
We're both protectors. We established that traditional stuff is out the window. We're both protectors.
Okay. So traditionally, men are protectors, right? In a
Most times.
household, huh?
I would agree
Traditionally,
with
he's saying
that, but we already
traditionally.
established that.
I'm saying traditionally, men are the protectors. I don't give a damn what country you go to. The men are the protectors. That's a fact.
That's fact.
So what I'm saying is, if see, and this is the crazy stuff of having this type of conversations, right? Like with some people who want to throw out traditional gender roles, that would mean, say hypothetically, you got a husband and a wife and 2 kids in a home, and you got a home invasion going on. Now, traditionally, the women will protect the kids, and then the man will go confront those intruders, right? Risk his life and even lay down his life to 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 protect his wife and children. See, with this whole gender role debate and stuff, and throwing everything, all these gender roles in the air, you mean to tell me the man is gonna go protect the children, and the women is gonna go, and the woman gonna confront the intruder by herself? That makes no sense.
But that's
Well, you
what
see it
happened.
happening though.
No. What I'm just saying is that makes no sense. You got a
I know it
200-pound
doesn't, but that's
man
what's happening.
intruding into the home, and your 200-pound husband is going to go hide with the children while your 150-pound ass is going to go confront them. Most women aren't physically capable. That's not sexist. Most women just are not physically capable or
And so
trained.
what I'm gonna
I
say
agree,
is
but
at
that's
the
why they
beginning of this conversation, I did say gender roles. Men were usually their role was to be the protector, the provider, the discipliner. So I agree with that 100% because I feel like because gender roles are so non-tradition now, it's the reason why we have such this confusion of what happens. Like the question I put up here, because we lack this gender role. Is that why we have the Cardi B's and the feministic men? Because a lot of men now, like they weren't brought up to know how to play manly roles. Like they weren't. Dads are out here teaching daughters how to change tires, and boys is playing with
I,
dogs.
I don't
I
I
mean,
don't
all
like
that
that
stuff.
idea though. Is it not? Is it not? We should. That to me, that's education. Like I'm gonna teach my daughter to change a tire, right? Because I don't want her to rely. If she's on the road by herself, I don't want her to be a damsel in distress. I
And
want
I
her to
can
be able
agree
to
with that.
change that shit
I'm not
herself.
saying not to teach them. I'm not saying that, but that's normally the role that a man plays. So more men should do it because there's a lot of men that are in cars with women that allow them to pump gas. If the tire's flat, she's out there changing. He's in the car playing on his phone.
Well, I mean, if he's involved, then yes, I think they could
Well, that's
actually.
just a sorry ass man.
Yeah, I would say
Well,
like,
but
yeah,
there's
he
a
should.
lot of
Yeah,
them though.
he's sorry. He's sorry. Yeah,
Because there's so many of them.
but but
Yes,
but
but why are there so many sorry ass men? If
Because
you
they're
look at
lacking the gender roles.
no.
But there are
Let's
men
think.
like that. I
But
Would
swear.
you would
we
you
have to look
would you
at.
allow your daughter to be in a relationship with a guy that didn't play his role?
No, I would not prefer that. I mean, it's her choice, but I would not prefer that for her. No, because I raised her to be a lady, to do womanly things. Like I raised her that way, even though I do have to still show her other aspects of being the manly figure in her own life. I still want her to be with a man that I know is going to have her. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to provide that man side to the relationship.
well, Ricky, let me ask you something. Like, and I D too. I'm curious because, like, because we're talking about men, right? Mostly, and the role that they play, right? But I'm curious because what I do see in the typical gender role is that a man is not taught to express his emotions or thoughts. And I'm not saying sensitivity. That's a whole different ball game,
I
right?
promote men expressing their emotions. I actually do try to bring emotional sides out of men because I do feel like they need to express them. This is the
Is
reason
that
why
is that
they
manly though?
don't
Is that
know
a
how
part
Man,
of
to
the
conduct
typical?
yeah,
themselves in a regular manner. Like when you're not in touch with yourself completely,
men
emotional,
do that.
physical, spiritual.
Men do it. It's just they don't do it with you. Men have our own little hood country clubs and barber shops. We do it amongst ourselves. We just don't do it with you because let's just be honest. When a man starts showing too much sensitivity and emotionalism, you're going to look at him like a bitch.
Yep. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I think that's a part
I
of
can only
typical.
speak for myself. I don't do that.
What about you, Siobhan?
Yeah,
Or
just
Don?
men crying, a man crying on your shoulders all the time. You gonna tell him, man, get your crybaby
Bro,
ass up out of here.
no, you can't be a cry. That's different. You can't be sensitivity and expressing yourself is different. Like you
No,
shouldn't be
But
like,
some men, don't get me wrong. I know gangsters that get mad and tears will come out their eyes, but they the hardest thing on the street though. But what I'm saying is, but a woman seeing tears come out of a man's eyes might be looked at different. See, I've
Because
seen plenty of gangsters cry at funerals and things like that when homies get killed. I done seen plenty of gangsters cry. But when a woman see a man cry, it might be perceived something totally different.
Siobhan, what about you? Siobhan or Don, do y'all think that, a man who expresses himself is a typical gender role for a man? And is it okay with you to have a man who expresses himself, not the overly sensitive type, because that's different, but like who expresses himself and shows emotions?
So for me, I'm like, I don't mind a man being expressive, but I think sometimes they can be overly sensitive. To me, that is annoying. um, because yeah, I'm kind of like the gangster type. Like I don't need you to cry over little things. Like it's unnecessary. Like you want to cry? Like cry over some real shit. um, but not just to be crying. Like I'm not with it. Like that shit would annoy me. Um, because I'm like, there's other shit you should be concerned about and be crying over, but like some shit that I'm like, oh, my car's not working, so I threw a fucking fit and started crying. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not with it. I feel like I don't judge men for being sensitive because I feel like you should be able to connect with people. I feel like you should have that emotional, that physical, that soul tie. Like you have to have that. Like in a relationship, I feel like you have to understand where each other's coming from, but I don't think it will be like more on a judgmental side because I feel like a lot of men don't express how they feel. I dealt with a guy who's like, I don't have any emotions, and I'm like, well, that sucks, because I'm like, at the end of the day, you're human. So I'm like, you're saying like if your kid got hurt, you're not gonna be emotional? Like that doesn't make sense. Like that's your kid, right? So you have to have emotions regardless. I don't know.
But
I
hold on.
don't think he's emotionalist, but go ahead.
But can you not show emotion but still care? Like you said, if your kid got hurt, does that mean he got to be crying and bawling and he can still care?
But then it's like, if his kid was crying, it's like, what the fuck are you crying for? Like,
well,
that
men
to
are
me
not
doesn't show
traditional.
that he cares.
No. See, men are not traditionally the nurturers. That's the women's job.
It doesn't
This is
matter.
why women are
Because
more.
your
It's
tone of
both of our
voice,
jobs, bro.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
it's both
no,
of our
no.
jobs.
I'm talking about
It's
a
shit.
nurturing. I'm talking about from a nurturing standpoint.
just because women are nurturers don't mean you should be devoid of feelings.
No, I didn't say devoid
Exactly.
of feelings. I didn't say devoid of feelings. I said he might not. See, everybody processes stuff different. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean you don't care
But
just because
from
you
his
don't
perspective,
cry.
he's like, I don't want my
That's
son
what
to be a
these
little bitch,
conversations
right?
are for.
Right?
I'm
But
just
Huh?
like
gonna put that out there.
his perspective is more like, get up, like don't be fucking crying, don't be little bitch. Like that's how typical men are, right? They don't want their kids to be little sissies, so they gotta toughen up and not have emotions. Like so, to me, that's saying you're trying to teach your kids not to be emotional, like, and that's not
I
cool. Like
wouldn't say that.
they
I
should
wouldn't
be able
say
to
that.
express your emotion. Like
I wouldn't
people are
say
like,
I wouldn't say
oh, you
that
shouldn't
though.
let your kids see you cry. For what? Like, why shouldn't they? At least they know you
I
human.
wouldn't say that.
Like,
Well,
at least
let's just be honest. I think men try to teach little boys that basically like there's certain things worth crying over. But most things aren't.
exactly right. I
So that's why
agree.
men will tell a little boy, man, get up and stop crying. Because most things aren't worth crying over.
Yeah,
Be-
but
be-
I also feel like you also shut kids down to where it's like shit. If they're hurt, they hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, fuck, if I'm in pain, I should be able to cry that shit out. Like, I'm just saying. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just different. I don't know. Like,
like
I
I
don't know.
said, yeah.
I don't hide
That
my
pain
emotions
is
with my daughter because I feel like she has to know that feelings are valid and emotions are valid, and like I'm never gonna shut her off from being able to express that. Like, hey, I feel sad today. Like, all right, cool. Like, what do you feel sad about? Like, let's talk about it. Like, we should have open conversations with our kids about emotions and what's going on in school or what's going on a daily basis, like a check-in, because it's like these kids deal
I
with so
agree.
much and they hold in so much. But when we as parents teach our kids like, oh, don't be crying, what you crying for? Like, you're shutting their emotions off. Like, for what? Like, you should be like, yo, what's going on? Like, can we talk about it? Like, I do this with my
No,
daughter every day. Like,
but yeah, but there's inner emotions and then there's outer emotions. What I'm saying is just because some people don't show outer emotions doesn't mean it's not affecting them inside. And what I'm saying is most men carry their emotions on the inside.
I
You know what I'm
agree, and then
saying?
I also agree that they show their emotions in different ways too. Um, to kind of roll back onto what you say, meaning that they care, I definitely agree to an extent because I feel like just because this person is not is the emotionalist, like I feel like he was showing his emotions in different ways, but he probably didn't notice that I recognized what he was showing in those moments because it's like I knew when he was upset, he would run his engine around the block and shit. He would be mad. So I knew he was mad about something and had something that was dealing with me. And I was like, that's kind of funny, but it's like, it was letting me know, like, yeah, I don't care, but I do care. Like, but I'm gonna run my engine because I'm mad. Like, but it's like, oh, okay, you care? That's cool. Like, I got you. Like, but it's like, but it's like people talk about how they're like, they can turn off their emotions and turn them on, and I'm like, how does that work? How does that work for you? Like, it's
Well, it's
just
called
different, but people show them differently.
well, being able to turn it off, it's compartmentalization. Being able to compartmentalize certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Hey Marcus, I wonder if you want to chime in here. We ain't heard much from you.
You know what? I was just observing, and I'll tell you this: me as a man, I'm a I'm an emotional creature, and I'm not embarrassed to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like I acknowledge my feelings, and I don't have a. I mean, I don't have a problem expressing how I feel, whether I'm hurt, embarrassed, mad, sad, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is part of just being a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a
Has a woman
sissy or a crybaby, but
has a woman
as
ever made
far
you
as
feel less of a like? Has a woman ever like made you feel less of a man because of that?
no, and if she attempted to or tried to, uh, I understood she wasn't the one for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal or have anybody in my life that don't recognize my feelings and acknowledge how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And I'll show her the same respect. You know, if you make it known that you feeling some type of way, I'm gonna acknowledge it and figure out what's wrong, and you know, and see how I can make the situation better. You know, and I'll tell you this, bro. A lot of people, you know, a lot of people have different backgrounds. A lot of people grew up in really tough situations, and so whenever I was allowed to relax and be funny and, you know, be corny and just be myself, I embrace that rather than having to walk around looking tough all the time, mean mugging niggas. When I put myself in a position where I could relax and just be who I want to be, it was like a ton of bricks lifted off my shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Because some people have to be tough and some people just choose to act tough, you know?
That's real.
And so now I'm not in the position where I have to be tough or try to act tough. I love who I am. You know, physically, I'm not to be fucked with, but I like being, I like having fun. I like having intellectual conversations. You know what I'm saying? I like, I like other shit rather than trying to be hard all the time. You know what I'm saying? So if me being nice and funny is misperceived, then that's on her. You know what I'm saying? You don't recognize, you know, a genuine person when you see one.
Now, with that being said, one more follow-up question. So, with the woman, okay, you answered, but like, has another man ever made you feel less of a man for your expressing your emotions or being who you choose to be?
A man, no, he can't. There's not a man on earth that can make me feel less than a man. Not even my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I understand that I am all 100% man. So if a woman feel like I'm soft because I opened the door for her or I filled up her tank with gas, that just says to me that she don't value herself very much.
Yeah, that's a deficiency on her end, not yours.
That's on her. If you think I'm soft because I opened the door for you or pulled your chair out or stuck my
Looks like,
arm out to help you get down some steps, that's on you, baby. You don't feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying?
but not even on the soft side, Marcus. Uh, uh, the fact that you can't respect and have value in niceness from a
Femininity
Right.
needs
humanitarian
to come
from
back.
a
Women need to be
humanitarian
more
perspective.
feminine. That is the problem. There is too
Right,
much masculinity in women nowadays, and they
there is.
really don't. They don't know how to be
Right.
ladies, and this goes right back to the gender roles. People
Exactly.
need to realize that you have a role to play. And instead of trying to incorporate yourself in boundaries that you don't need to be even, you know what I mean? That's where the confusion comes in at. And it's really disheartening to see because a lot I can agree, a lot of men open doors, pull out chairs. They do those things, put gas in the car. And women just really like they just like it's so automatic for them to do it now. Like they don't allow men to do it, and like they don't know how to say thank you no more. They're always trying
No.
to put somebody in a different like there's so many layers to the gender role aspect.
Well, it ain't gonna do nothing but get
Right.
worse because, like I said, all this gender role stuff came into confusion as women's socioeconomic opportunities got increased in America.
I'm I'm
You feel
gonna
what I'm
say
saying?
what ain't nobody else gonna say, but this is what it is. Me as a woman, I personally have a problem with the feministic woman who stepped out there like I can do it too. Who the fuck are you to
Yeah,
speak for all of us?
yeah.
And
I'm just
and
saying, like
and
that's a
and the
problem
feminist
for me.
movement does not represent black women. It does not represent black people. You know what I mean? Like that's not we don't have the luxury to be fractured like that. We don't.
Susan B. Anthony and her goddamn cohorts back in the 1880s, I believe, started that feminist movement. And you know why? Because there was a debate amongst the white powers that be about letting black men vote. So them white women was black folks vote. So those white women like, hold on, how the hell y'all gonna let them niggas vote and you won't even let your white women vote? This is a problem. This is how all that feminist stuff started. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't mad at white women for being mad at they man, because how you gonna skip over us and let these Negroes vote and we can't? So that's how all that stuff started in the 1880s, and it just got bigger and bigger, picked up more steam, more steam. You know what I'm saying? Up into the civil rights movement and the feminist movement within the 60s and all that. So it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, as women's social economic opportunities have increased, gender roles have got more confusing.
And I
Because
agree with
now women, people that was in my grandma's position, now they could leave they grand, you know what I'm saying? Now they can leave their husband for whatever reason, whether there was abuse or not. I got my own money. I don't need you. The grass is greener over there, which most times it ain't. But that's her option though nowadays because women got their own money.
Well, if we can back up a couple steps, you have to
I feel
understand
like you say
how
about
the
that
black family was structured. It was a calculating move that put black women at the head of the household.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
the black woman has
And
never been
and and
submissive. The black woman has never
what was that, Don?
been submissive. The black woman has
Don,
never been submissive.
she's breaking up. I
She's
can't
just
hear
at
her.
the bottom of the barrel, but it ain't by
the black woman was
choice.
once submissive. There are a lot of submissive black women.
They are, but
You saying that
the
like that's a bad
structure of
thing?
the home
It was
was
set up
was
that way because it was like the man was the muscle and the woman was the brain.
But what does that have to do with a black woman being submissive?
But
no.
that's how they formed
I'm
families.
saying I'm saying the mother was made to understand that if her child, her son, acted a certain way, that he would be harmed. And so that made her overprotective of her son and taught him how to move in a way that was less than a man should have to move, just to protect him from society, the white society.
Hey Don, you and I'm this is for all the women. You like first of all, are the women any women in this room submissive? One, two, Don, you seem to be a little offended by the idea that a woman should be submissive.
I'll speak for me.
By me?
I feel I can be a submissive woman, but I'm only going to submit to what is going to be leading me in the right direction. So there's that part.
I wouldn't even use the term submissive, you know,
That's a
just
trigger
be a
word for
lady.
a lot of people.
Right. There's just be a lady. And let me take care of you. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's fact.
Don, what about you? What you are you submissive and are you offended by the idea of being submissive?
Hell yeah, yeah. Being, I mean, maybe being, maybe being submissive in the bedroom is a role play that would be interesting. But outside of that, no. But like I said, I'm a matriarch. I don't want to be submissive in any situation. I don't want to be submissive when I'm in class. I'll be having problems with the teacher because you have to be a certain amount of submissive to listen to what they're saying. But if that person is wrong or you feel like they're wrong and you want to have that discussion, you should be able to have that discussion. But in general, black women, yeah, we were the last ones to be considered for voting rights, but that don't mean it was right. We have never been like submissive to that extent. No, I don't go to bed and have dreams of wanting to be submissive? Hell no. We can talk about the traditional roles, but like I said, those are dead. Those roles are gone. Let's talk about the millennials and how the guys nowadays is wearing skirts and pink and nails. And let's talk about Lil Nas X, whom I love. Let's talk about those kind of situations. We can
What
reminisce
the
about
fuck?
the past all we want, but we're not doing traditional no more. That's a dead road. Let's talk about the new direction we got to go to survive as a species.
Well,
Yeah,
like
it ain't
we
that.
we
It ain't
talking
that
about millennials.
anarchist shit. That's some anarchy, goddammit. And a
I
lot of
think that
motherfuckers,
We're
and a lot
talking
of
about
people want
millennials.
anarchy
I think
because
that plays
That's
a major
millennials.
role
But
in
for guys,
the male being
for
missing from the
people that
home.
are, yeah, I mean that is a lot because somebody didn't play their role in their life.
Right. And that's how I feel as far as Little Nas X goes. It's like a prime example. And I think that's why a lot of these Generation Xers are the way that they are, because their structure has not been what we've grown up with. You know what I mean? Like even
They
before
never
us.
saw a man. They never saw a man play his role or a woman play her role. And a lot of kids didn't get that.
What about you, Siobhan?
and
Do you are you submissive? And do you think if you're not, you should be or should not be?
Um, I don't think I'm submissive at all. I don't think that I need to be submissive to anything or anybody, but I mean, I guess for some women it works out for them, but it's just not me.
You know
Do you,
what? I don't want a submissive woman. I want
I
somebody that
want
can
her to
think on
flex.
her own. I want somebody that can think on her own, make her own decisions, and tell me when she's not happy. That's what I like.
You can
I
be
want the same
submissive
thing.
with a
But
voice.
I would like to have a hybrid though, right? Like,
Yeah, you could
because
be
I don't.
submissive with a voice. Like you could still have your own
Yeah,
personality out with that and still be submissive to the situation. You know what I'm
I
saying?
want
Like
a
it's not just
hybrid.
being submissive to the man.
Yep.
You're being
Hey, listen, I
submissive
want
to
a
the
hybrid.
situation.
I want a hybrid. I want a woman who's going to be able to be strong as hell because I don't want somebody who's gonna let me walk over them. That's not what I want. But
Right.
when but I do want you to trust when I'm like, yo, let me take the lead, that you know that I'm doing this for the best of us. I don't want it to always be combative. Like I'm trying to, like, it should be a dance, and sometimes as a man I'm gonna lead, like, and allow me to lead. I don't want to have to always fight you about when to lead, like, because that's a part of my role too, right? And so
Right.
as a
Right.
protector and a provider, I want that, but I'm not saying you should do everything I say. Lay down and play dumb and don't say nothing, don't challenge me. I don't want none of that. But I don't want it to be like, down. You know what I mean? You want to take the lead? All right, take the lead all the time, because that's not, then you're, then as a man, as a gender or as the role, then you're kind of stepping on my toes a little bit. You know what I mean? And then I can't play my role because you won't allow me to. So there just needs to be
You
a
won't
flux.
let me.
Yep, there needs to be a flux. I need to
And
be
that's
able to, like, this is a dance. It should be back and forth, and I'm cool with that.
right. I agree. And that's just what I was said earlier. If you let me, you know what I'm saying? If you let me play my role, I'll play it like an all-star player. But most women won't let you, you know.
I think that's
They'll
really
let me
self
change their
protection
oil.
too, though. I think some of that's about
Right.
self protection. Women want to protect themselves, and that's why they've learned to be this way. Like, and now when I
I
say,
won't say, hold on, pause. I won't say women want to protect themselves. I believe that women of our statute have been forced to. I
Right.
will say that.
I agree.
And I agree with you, you know. I agree with you. And I also say it again that our roles some people wasn't taught their role, you know. You can't
And
play
that's
a
the
role
problem.
if you hadn't read the script.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't. That's definitely a problem.
And Don, I think that you actually provide the most interesting perspective about gender roles because of the relationships that you have, right? And I don't, I don't. It's not good or bad. It's just really interesting because you just have a different vantage point on that, and how it impacts your relationship is much different than someone who may be in a heterosexual role, a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah, but it's what I witnessed too. Just like as far as me following a lot of people on social media, a lot of them are gay black men. I don't follow a lot of heterosexual black men on social media, um, so I don't know what dynamic that is. But and I'd love to keep talking with you guys in the midst of this, but I just picked my mom up, so I got to take her home and stuff. But keep me in mind, and this definitely has to go longer than the time frame that we have to have this conversation. And I would still love to be a part of it because I have 1,000 comments right now, and I'm gonna put them in the
Thank
chat.
you so much for coming and being a part of it because I think this is like really important. And I wanted to have so many different perspectives on things because we need to start having these conversations, you guys. Like it's real. It's definitely real.
I agree, but thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Tell Mama Happy Mother's Day.
Dope. But yeah. So my views, like as far as gender
I
roles
would.
outdated, is it's sad, but it's true. They kind of are outdated. It's kind you kind of have to change with the times, and not everything needs to be a drastic change.
Hey,
But
Kia.
there's been drastic changes and a negative impact. Yeah.
I wish Don would have heard this next comment that
Hey,
I'm
kid,
about to
I gotta
say.
log off. I'm gonna get right back on here in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Kia, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Well, because submission it was like a trigger word to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a trigger word to a lot of women. And this is what I will say: there's nothing wrong with submission. See, when you grow up playing sports, you understand this. In basketball, you can't always be the one to take the last second shot. You got to submit that to the better player. The same thing in football. In any team sport, there's gotta be sacrifice.
Right. Everybody has
And
a
a
role to
But
relate
play. Everybody
and a
Don
has a
thinks
role to
he's a
play.
relationship.
better
Not
player though.
always does.
But what I'm saying is, in relationships, that's a team sport, right?
It's a team sport.
But
It's
Don
a
thinks
team
he's the
sport.
better player though. That's why she has
What's
a
that?
problem with that. She thinks she's the better player.
Right. But now this is the thing. Sometimes in certain situations she will be, but at other times she's gonna have to get her head out her ass and realize that you're not the better player in this particular situation. Other
That's what I was
situations,
getting ready to
yes.
say. That's
But
exactly what I was getting ready to say. You have to
so
pick and choose. Like, not
that's what
everything
I'm
is
saying.
going to be the same thing every scenario. Everything is different. You have to
And that's
actually
what
pick
I'm
and choose
and
what
that's
to
what I'm
do.
saying. Like I said, you can't be the head of the table at 20 different tables. That's impossible. I had this conversation with Marcus when it came to business, and I said, "Bro, unless your last name is Rothschild or Rockefeller, you ain't gonna be the head of the table at every business meeting. You just ain't. You see what I'm saying? Because there's gonna be some people there that are more qualified to do the leadership role. You see what I'm saying? Depending on what it is,
And you have to know. You have
you
to know
you
when it's
have
your
to
time to
know.
step up.
And that's people being honest about their strengths and weaknesses. And if you can't be honest about your strengths and weaknesses with the person you laying in the bed with, then that's not a good situation.
It's not.
You
It's
know.
not. And you absolutely should. You just have to know when. You have to know when it's
I'm
your
back.
time to go ahead and sit back.
Right. Exactly. So,
Can y'all hear me?
but
Yeah, we can
yeah,
hear
we
you.
hear you.
So then we're saying then when we're saying then, well, what you're saying, D, then is that in some scenarios, even in a relationship, a heterosexual relationship, there are some times when the man needs to submit to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's called wisdom. Having the wisdom of discernment to know when your wife is more capable than you and when you are more capable than your wife. You gotta have that wisdom, and that's like when you
It's a
look at king,
balance.
when you look at a king has advisors and counselors. Why? Because he don't got his ear to the streets like his advisors and counselors do. They know more about what's going on in his kingdom than he do. So he has to rely on other people so he can make an informed decision.
In relationships, they're a partnership, and it's not every man for himself. And people have to understand when it's your time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a talent. You know what I'm saying? When it's your time to shine, it's your
Right.
time to shine. You just have to know when. And that comes all with communication and everything. If y'all have that bond and understanding, it's not going to even be a question. The
Right.
issues brought to the forefront, y'all decide how y'all going to handle it, y'all go forward. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to get back to gender roles. We have to. I feel like it's mandatory for society at this point.
Anything else, like I said, anything else is we're leading going down a path of anarchy. You know what I'm saying? There's no order if everything is confused. And if there's no order, then the powers that be will continue to keep us divided, therefore conquered. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the lack of gender roles has made the sexes hate each other. Like, it's crazy. Like how you look at,
Definitely
like,
a resentment there. Definitely.
resentment. Resentment. I will go with that. I do
Right.
feel like the lack
Hey,
of
you know
roles
what?
has created that.
I look, Big D, Kid, Don, you guys know my situation. I was married for, 20 plus years. I've been single now for almost 2. And, when I was in a relationship, I didn't move around much at all, just with family and friends. But now moving around, seeing what's going on with these kids, it really scares me. Me and Kid have had this
Mhm.
conversation before. These
Yeah.
millennials have no clue.
No.
And like the old people used to say when I was young, these are the kids that's gonna be running the world one day.
They gonna have your life in their hands, and
Yo, Marcus,
they
And it's
don't want
gonna
to
be
stray, and it's
I don't
really
see
scary.
I don't see anything good coming out of this, man. These kids are way bad off.
hey Marcus, can we get some clarification here? Because I need you to understand. I'm a millennial. Rakia is a millennial. We are millennials.
Well,
We're
okay,
80s
so what's
babies,
Yeah.
the
nigga. Don't throw us in that
so
category.
so
We are
what's the
80s
generation
babies.
after you guys? What's the
It's the
generation after you guys?
They're Gen X. So we have the
Generation
millennials,
X?
who was the kids that
X.
was born in the
Yeah.
2000s, and then we have the
Okay.
Gen
no,
X
no,
that
no,
Yeah.
no, no. Millennials were born in 80. That's when it began. 80
Right.
to like 95 or something like that.
Yeah.
The
are
last
okay.
millennials.
Okay.
Okay. I'm talking about Generation X, right? Is that the group after you
Okay.
guys?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, but let's just be
Yeah,
honest.
that's
There's
who I'm
always
talking about.
but there's that gray area too. Because trust me, you had a whole
Generation,
lot of
I
because
call it.
you had a whole lot of crack babies born in the fucking 80s and the 90s. You feel me?
And
So
now they're having babies. And now them
right,
crack
True.
babies is having babies.
They're having
exactly.
babies and grandbabies.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, so it ain't just Gen X, it's millennials too. You know what I'm saying?
And those are Generation X. I call them, goddamn me, Generation Ecstasy.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
Because
you ain't
they're
never
bad off.
lied. Ooh, they
straight,
are
straight,
lost.
straight dope. All these dope
Them
fiends
kids
walking
are bad
around.
off. I don't get it.
Right.
I think a
Man,
lot of it too, like millennials. I will say millennials. There's a like like Rakia and I are we're just at the beginning. But you're right. I think like maybe 5 to 10 years after us, things got different. But I think what you're talking about too is that it became more cultural. Like it became like you can turn on the TV and see some of these, undoing of gender roles, right? Like if you turn on the TV right now, it's crazy, right? I don't have a TV, but what we see was part of social media that really plays a part of people's psyches, and it gets into their mind, and then they start acting out against the nature of things sometimes.
Now, hey, now let me add this real quick. You mentioned seeing these gender roles on TV. Now, peep game. Me, when you look at all these sitcoms and TV shows where it's a family dynamic, isn't the man always the dumb one and the wife is always the smart one? But you don't see men making a big deal about that shit. But if the situation was reversed, women would be in a damn uproar about all these dumb women on TV, and the men are all smart. And you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But all the men are dumb.
I think it's just the hypersensitive community that we're in, the hypersensitive state.
You're right.
Because
You're right. But you
the
don't see men.
hypersensitivity is real.
But it's not hypersensitive on the man side.
You
It's
know
the
why it's like
feminist
that though?
side.
It's because women are the consumers. They're the ones
Right.
buying stuff. They're the ones watching
You're
so you
right.
got to cater to your audience.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is, if women were portrayed in a bad light, like men are, being dumb brutes, right? Uh, I'm just saying they would be protesting. Is all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't want to watch that stuff. You know. But the small market of men who are watching it aren't protesting it. Why? Because it's just TV.
Well, men don't. We actually don't, in my opinion. And let me just speak for myself. I don't do a lot of complaining. Like I'm not the one when we go out to dinner and there's a hard like something's wrong with the dinner. I'm not calling the waitress like this is like there's hair. I don't do a lot of complaining, right? Like and so
Right.
men, I don't see a lot of men doing that in general. You know what I mean?
We
Like
don't. We
it's
don't.
normally the women calling back to customer service like let me cut somebody out. I didn't get like da 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 and so like and I don't. I just don't see a lot of men complaining.
Right. Because what are we taught as boys? Don't cry. You ain't got it. Ain't worth crying about. And most things in life aren't worth crying about. It ain't. Most things in life aren't a big deal. You know what I'm saying? We overinflate stuff because we had a lot of people have a bigger sense of importance of themselves, and not understanding you're a piece of you're a speck you're sand in the you know what I'm saying, on sand, a piece of sand on the beach. That's how important you are to this universe. But most people think they're more important than what they are. And men, we're taught to just go with the flow. It ain't that serious
Grin
because
and
most
bear it,
things.
grin and bear it. But I will say though, I
Yeah.
agree with you, D. But when I be seeing them getting free stuff and they getting free meals and a month free of their phone bill, I be like, dang, maybe I should have said something.
Yeah, but then you would have had to then you would have had to put your pride and ego to the side. You know what I'm saying? And not just pride and ego, but character. Because some people do that shit on purpose and just to screw people over, screw the restaurant over. And from a character perspective, I can't do that because I believe in karma. I don't want that dumbass karma over a $50 meal to come back on me and bite me in the ass when I least expect it. It's a character thing.
I agree 100%.
Yep, I agree.
A lot of people do that just to empower themselves for that moment.
Yeah. They get a rush to see how if they can get over on somebody. It's a rush, like
just to be able to talk to somebody crazy.
Yeah, no different from a con man.
They do
con man gets a rush.
They do it. Well, they know this waitress is on the clock, and she's vulnerable. She ain't gonna do that to somebody that she know that might, respond to that shit in the same energy.
Right. See, and that's the thing. See, we men, there is an unspoken understanding that most men have toward other men that women do not have toward other women. And I always go back to this book, one of my favorite books called The Book of the Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. He's like the greatest samurai ever. And he wrote in his book that samurais are supposed to refrain from engaging in useless conversations, frivolous conversations. Why? Because if a samurai gets into it with another samurai, someone has to die. So I'm not about to have this useless conversation with you, and then it turns into something disrespectful. Now one of us got to die. So I'm not going to waste my time with frivolous conversations that don't mean anything that might turn bad, and it gets into a respect thing. See, most men, for the most part, understand this dynamic amongst ourselves that if disrespect comes, one of us is going to get hurt. Women don't have that same outlook toward other women.
Is that true, women? We don't want to speak for you. Is that true?
I'm speak what I see, but
But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
This is why, but this, you can just look at statistics and research. This is why women prisons are more disorderly than men's prisons. Men have way
and
more
their
order.
bathrooms.
Huh?
And their bathrooms.
Well,
women do be tripping. They be on, man, I'm telling you, it's because
men understand hierarchy and order.
You do. You know what? I've never seen a fight between two women where somebody got seriously hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
I've never seen it in my whole life.
Yeah, they might get split open, busted nose or something, but dying.
I ain't never seen nobody get hurt.
Right. I mean, like
hurt. Like two niggas fighting, a nigga gonna get hurt. Yeah, I've never seen it.
How many times you ever see a woman knock another woman out on the street?
Never.
Never. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's some exceptions, but there's never been a woman that's been hurt in a physical fight by another woman where she had to get her teeth repaired or she got stitched up.
Yeah.
None of that.
I'm talking about just hand to hand. You're right.
Right. Never seen it. And a nigga understand that somebody's finna get hurt. Might not, but it's a good chance one of us finna be seriously hurt. And if you get the chance,
I think Siobhan's out here knocking people out.
Yeah. But I mean, it really comes down to physics and our biological makeups. Most women don't hit hard enough to knock another human out, as opposed to, like I said, you look on YouTube, men get knocked out all the dang time in fights,
And if given the opportunity, they're gonna hurt you as worse as they can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You slip and fall and let a nigga get on top of you, he's gonna do you in.
Right.
And we understand that. We understand that as men.
Right.
I fight to win. And it's anything can happen, but I don't think women actually get that. Never been in a position where you had to fight for your life on a regular basis.
Right.
That's true.
My phone is about to die, guys. I'm sorry.
Nah, I gotta go.
I had so much fun. This was fun.
But this has been a good conversation.
This was fun. We gotta do this again.
More often. So there'll be one to come in a couple of days, maybe. We'll see what happens. I'll just shoot it out and see what happens.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you, Marcus and D. It was nice talking with y'all, brothers.
Same as you, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys again. Let's do this again.
Like and subscribe to this YouTube page.
Okay.
And make sure you turn your notifications on the Facebook so that you guys will get the notifications.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, y'all. Y'all be prosperous.
All right. Y'all take care.
You too.
All right. Y'all be good.